Alright, so you have completed 10 HTML5 projects using different features of HTML5, CSS, and JavaScript. So in this video I just kind of want to go over the features and aspects that we've learned in this course. Alright, so the main thing that we learned is HTML5 markup, structure, and elements. Okay, so we learned valid HTML5 markup, the doc type, obviously, correct placement of different kinds of tags. For instance, using a nav tag instead of a div for your navigation, using header and footer tags, sections, main, using the A side tag for your sidebar. Pretty much all of the new HTML5 elements. Data attributes, we use those quite a bit, which are basically attributes that are used just for data. If you want to pass data to JavaScript or whatever it may be, you would use data attributes. They're not for looks or style or anything like that. Form elements, we built a few forms in these projects, and we've used some of the HTML5 types such as range or month. I know there was a few others. Email, which does it actually does client-side validation. So we looked at all those things in pretty much every project. Styling the user interface, again, probably used in every project. My coding style, I like to create the markup and then the styling and kind of have just a shell of the application, a physical version, and then move on to actually powering it with JavaScript or whatever. So CSS3 styling, we created a few responsive designs which used media queries to do that. We looked at the HTML5 boilerplate framework, which we used pretty much a very minimalized version of, and also Bootstrap. We used Bootstrap in the last project. So as you can see, if you weren't that familiar before this course with HTML5, I'm sure by now you know that it relies heavily on JavaScript. Okay, HTML5 gives us the basic elements to work with. For example, the canvas tag is an HTML5 tag, but alone it does absolutely nothing. You need to have JavaScript to tell it to draw a rectangle or fill this shape or draw this line. It's all done with JavaScript, and I think that's a big, just a big issue in general. When people are starting with HTML5, they're thinking, "Oh, we're just using new tags or whatever." But it does rely heavily on JavaScript. So through this course, we've done basic to advanced JavaScript and jQuery. We use jQuery quite a bit. A lot of events, click events, things like that. And we used a few different jQuery plugins for certain apps. We used the Quicksand, File Drop, and Fancy Box plugin for an image lightbox. And we also did a little animation. I think it was chapter 3 with the image gallery. If you clicked on a category, the images would scatter around and kind of fall into place. That was done with Quicksand. Okay, so HTML5 Canvas, we used this mostly in the Snake Game project. We made shapes, filled the shapes, drew lines. Abomination. This should actually be animation. Alright, so Canvas animation. Obviously the Snake Game, the snake moves around and then the food eats the food, then the food appears again. So a lot of different movements in that project. Okay, storage methods. We've used pretty much all of the common HTML5 storage methods, local storage, which is basically a key value store. Alright, so everything's stored as a key with a value, and the value has to be a string. Session storage is the same exact thing, except that the storage only lasts as long as the session lasts. Web storage, which gives us ability to use SQL inside our client database. IndexedDB, which is probably a better alternative to web storage. It is an object store, but it's more than just strings. You can store any type of data you want, and it's pretty much made for large amounts of data, unlike local and session storage. And with all of these technologies, we implemented CRUD, which stands for Create, Read, Update, and Delete. Alright, so pretty much all of our apps utilized these functions. Okay, some other things that were taught in this course was the HTML5 drag and drop API. We used that in the Stickies project as well as the file uploader. App cache we used just a little bit. We created a manifest file. I think it was, I can't remember which project it was, but we created a manifest so that we could do everything offline if we wanted. jQuery mobile framework we used in one of the projects for the to-do project. Mobile development is extremely popular right now, so I wanted to have something to do with mobile app development. PHP file uploading, this was with the D&D uploader project. Okay, so we basically use PHP to save a file. Upload a file to a temporary directory and then move it to a directory of our choice. And we also manipulated the files superglobal to help us deal with these images, with these files. And HTML5 audio, probably my favorite project in this course was the audio player. We looked at the API pretty much in depth. Alright, so we used functions like play, pause, stop. We built an absolutely custom user interface with custom buttons and images and all that. And it wasn't just a one-song audio player. We actually implemented a playlist where you could upload an entire CD or a couple or multiple CDs and kind of scroll through the songs. And also we displayed song duration, the time, as well as the progress bar. Alright, so that's just the gist of what we've learned in this series. I really enjoyed it. Obviously these applications aren't really production apps, but they are a very good start to making it a production app. Alright, so I just wanted to get the basics down, a foundation for developing with HTML5 and everything it comes with, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery. So hopefully you learned a lot, and I enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next course. Thanks.